kina semdol ka ke mo fa seda.
We are wanderers, neutral and in service to all of New Eden. We rescue the lost and light the way through Thera. We sail forbidden seas. Come explore with us. Signal Cartel. Can't stop the signal.
For 3 long years they fought online side by side, comrades in arms, but at a recent player gathering, little did he suspect the innermost surprise awaiting for him. As part of a clever prank, the organizers snapped a selfie with him and his friend in the background. It wasn't until he glanced at the photo that he realized that his closest gaming companion has driven over 10 hours just to reunite with him.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Talking in Stations. I'm your host Rain. Happy Easter to those who celebrate. And then we have our engineer Ben.
Hi there.
I managed to point at him in the right direction, so that's awesome. Above me we have Sothersil, or Soth for short, for those who can't pronounce fancy names. Soth, do you want to say hello to everyone and kind of introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Sothersil. I'm usually the guy who organizes the Angry Games tournament. I also help out with the AT sometimes, and otherwise you might know me from Push to Talk.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Push to Talk, another Eve stream / talk show. And then we also have Dirk, his comrade over there, Dirk Steele. Do you want to introduce yourself, Dirk?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Dirk. I have been around for too long at this point. I've been a Block FC, I've been a diplomat for Goons. In the meantime, I've done wormhole stuff. Nowadays, mostly I do tournament things, which is why we're here, and I work with Soth a lot on the Angry Games, and I also run the Goon AT team. And in the middle of all of the rest of it, I just like to have fun with cool people, like everybody here. So that's me in a nutshell.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you and welcome. Like the title implies, and like they've both hinted at, we are talking tournaments. But first, I want to jump into what Ben was alluding to with that clip / YouTube short earlier. And even what Dirk was saying, hanging out with cool people like everybody here. So, Eve Meets. What were the Eve Meets happening this weekend?
Yeah, well, yesterday it was the Eve Montreal meetup. It was our 4th one, best one that we ever had. We're refining it every single year, and this year, let's say that CCP has been like more than generous with us, with nearly 15 art giveaway from either Rix Jarvix or Lord George. We had like some USB Rifter that I've been lucky enough to actually, that's my prize, so really happy with it.
The USB Rifters are not great by USB standards nowadays. Like they're
really?
USB 2 and whatever. They're slow on a technical spec.
Oh really? I haven't tested yet. Oh really?
They're beautiful to actually have sat on a desk, right? Like they're so fantastic to look at.
Yeah. Okay.
They really are awesome. I have one myself that I won last year.
Nice.
They're great.
Okay, well,
but they're great, like to look at. They're just not great to use.
Oh, I see. Yesterday we also had this year a VIP option that actually 2/3 of the participants took. So
what was the VIP option? How much did it cost, and what did you get?
It was $30 more than the original one. So Canadian bucks, so it's not a lot.
What was the original price, just to give us a benchline?
It was, I think it's 65, I think. 65?
65 Canadian bucks for the normal, and then 95 Canadian for the extra? Okay. Yep. And what did you get?
With the extra, For the normal one, it's like the whole like a dinner at the Sugar Shack with the like all the prices, the lanyard, the cool people. So that's like what was the baseline of this. Then with the 30 bucks, there was a laser tag game. Well, actually 4 laser tag games that happened later on into the afternoon, and after this one, like a few hours later in the bar to finish up the evening. Really, people just had a blast. Like it was the best one that we ever did. Really enjoyed it. Like really.
So wait, what did you say the VIP came with then? Was that the laser tag or is
Yeah.
that something extra?
Laser tag.
Dude, that's so
yeah.
cool.
So like how can I say, like we did like that. We had like 4 games, but like a bunch of EVE nerds and at a laser tag. Let's say that we were not let's say good for the competition, as we had like more than double the points of who we were against.
You play against non-EVE nerds then?
Yeah.
Like, did you just dunk on some like 12-year-old like birthday
Oh
party?
no, not 12. You were maybe 10 or 8.
That's funny.
Oh no, it wasn't that bad. They were younger.
We had some
EVE players
others.
destroyed to 8-year-old's birthday party.
But at the third game, like we split, like a bunch of us went to the other team. It was like more even, but like the 2 first game was like fishing in a barrel.
That is so funny, dude.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Ben is talking about the EVE Montreal meet that happened yesterday. We had EVE Leeds in the UK yesterday as well, and it was nowhere close, right? EVE Leeds was just a traditional pub meet, and we had a few people there that like we probably managed 45, maybe 50 people, but it was just a pub meet.
Okay.
It wasn't, like laser tag and everything as well.
You guys didn't ruin
That's
any birthday
incredible.
parties? Damn.
We absolutely did not ruin any birthday party.
But that's awesome. I know you had mentioned before the show, you said CCP Zealous was there. Was there like swag and stuff too?
We had skin codes. The skin codes that CCP kind of throw at EVE meets. The friendship skins for the Nesta, the Astero, and I forget the name of the
Stratios.
cruiser. The
Yes.
fleet up skins, exactly, Ben.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we had CCP Zealous there, we had CCP Shortfall, who's working on the Vanguard game.
Well, that's
And
awesome.
then we also had GM Nito there with us. GM Nito is a little bit of a bitch and does not drink very well. I am calling him out here live on stream because, I offered him a drink and he went, yeah, I'll have half a pint of Coors. But, yeah, everyone was great. It was such a good time. It's always good fun to get together with everybody and just have conversations, that kind of thing. Meetups are always such good fun. It's always worth going to them.
Yeah, indeed. And while we were talking about meetup, Dam and I are getting another one in place for Moncton this summer. I think it's on the 22nd of June. Will be in Moncton. So if you got people in that part of either US or Canada, please get them in touch with us so that we give them the appropriate information. Because there's let's say a hole there that could be filled with another meetup. So yeah, get in touch with us.
Yeah, for sure. And if you are curious for EVE meets in your area, CCP will do broadcasting and advertising of these, right? So I know within the next month, Eve New Orleans is happening. So if you're in the U.S. or in the New Orleans area, or can make a quick plane ride, that's worth it. But they happen all over the world. Like we talked about, at least 2 continents, Europe and North America. But also, I know they happen in Asia and then Australia as well. I think probably the only place we don't have them is Antarctica, and that's due to lack of Eve players in Antarctica. So not due
It's
to
due to a lack of anybody in Antarctica.
and probably a bar where everybody can hang out. That's probably the other hindrance for Eve players, even though you don't
Yeah.
have to drink to go.
You drink Antarctica dry very quickly.
But yeah, so if you're curious to hang out with Eve Meets, check it out. I'm probably gonna try to go one hopefully in May. Otherwise, Eve Vegas is happening end of this year. So they're totally worth going to if you are like, oh, I don't have any friends, or I'm not in whatever alliance. Like nobody cares at these. The topic of conversation is who do you fly with, and then it just kind of goes out the window because everybody's like, you're our friend now, and so you kind of get adopted by these groups. So don't worry if you don't have friends while walking into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I know for a fact that there's also going to be another London meet happening sometime later this year. It hasn't been confirmed what the dates are, but there's a Discord floating around. I can throw it in the Twitch chat if I have. I may not be able to throw it in the Twitch chat. I may not have roles, but like any continent you're on, there's Eve meets happening, and you can like find them and reach out to people, and it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, there's the one in Toronto happening on the 30th of April. The 13th of April, sorry. So if you're on the Eve North Toronto Discord, you get all the details there. Otherwise, reach up to me and I'll give you a link if I find the one before the end of the show.
Yeah, there's Eve Glasgow also on April 13th. So if you're on different parts of the world, you can go. Eve New Orleans. So there's almost always Eve meets happening, especially as it gets warmer in the northern hemisphere. People love their Eve meets. They love going out, seeing people.
I just want to point out that the French-Italian research station in Antarctica is called Concordia. So we have to make an Eve meet.
Oh dear.
You're saying we have to make an Eve meet? Maybe we do like
Yeah.
a Antarctic cruise, and then we go there and have the Eve meet in Antarctica. Instead of party on top of the world, it's party at the bottom of the world.
And it's the French and Italians. There's gonna be some drinks there.
Oh, for
Some.
sure.
Yeah.
He uses this word some.
That would be so much fun, though. I feel like that's something CCP should plan for all of us in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, they send a Rifter to space, right? So why not?
Yeah, no, they did do that. So many people forget some of the cool stuff that CCP have done, but yeah, they put a Rifter on a shuttle and sent it to space.
So, I kind of want to use that to segue. So, I don't know if you guys have ever applied to CCP, but sometimes they make you do these little projects. Most of the time when you're applying for IT/game dev roles. And one of them was you have an infinite budget. Tell us how we should market our video game. And I told them once, I was like, you should put the Eve logo on SpaceX or, the NASA ships. Just put them on a ship and just launch it off into space. And that would be such the biggest, I don't know, people would be like, oh, what's Eve Online? And then they go and check it out. But to kind of segue from that, we do have a new CCP dev who was a player who applied. So I don't know if that's a good way to introduce Mark Resurrectus as CCP.
I mean, so I think Soth has applied before, right?
Oh, have
You
you?
did that?
Yeah, I did, but I think I wasn't in time for it. CCP Alpha got the spot.
Yeah, but you did the recruitment process kind of thing.
No, I sent my CV in, and that was it. I didn't even get to the first stage.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misremembered apparently the length that Soth ended up going to talk to CCP.
Sometimes depending what your resume says or your CV, and then also the time frame, they'll be like, hey, we have a window open, and it's 3 days. So if you're not within those 3 days, or I always tell people CCP is very nepotistic. If you're not Icelandic, sometimes they in some countries you have to have a role open and you have to interview. I know that's common in America. I think in Iceland it's not. They can just kind of say whatever they want. So if you're not kind of like their target demographic of what they're looking for, sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, we'll take your application, but that's it." So don't feel too bad about that.
And it's also that, especially when you're applying for a community role, they are looking for people who are already active and well established in the community, right?
Yeah, very true. Or sometimes
And
actually,
this brings us right back around to Mark, right? Who has been a CSM for like 2 terms. He's leaving the CSM now to become a CCPer, and we love CCP Bathrobe. He is absolutely fantastic. He's a lovely guy.
so
And yes, he will be CCP Bathrobe forevermore.
I think his official name is CCP Jotun if you look in game, but yeah, CCP Bathrobe is quite easier to say.
It is CCP Jotun, but yeah, the man lives in his bathrobe, and therefore he will be CCP Bathrobe. This kind of sort of swings us back around to tournaments a little bit as well, because we have CCP Zealous, who thought about being CCP Charon, and then he realized that Americans would mispronounce it as Karen. And then we have CCP Overload, who is Ithaca Hawk, the wonderful, the inimitable Ithaca Hawk, who produces and posts a lot of the AT stuff for the last few years, as CCP Confirmed.
Every stream, he'd say it. He'd be like, CCP confirmed AT whatever, and then that was
Something
like...
is confirmed, exactly.
Yeah, so it fits.
These guys, they walk themselves into problems.
I mean,
but they walk themselves into problems.
I feel like you're missing one there, although we didn't change his name much. It's CCP Swift, who all of us call Swifty.
Yeah, true.
Taylor Swift, yes.
Also known as CCP Boundary every now and again.
Ben's looking confused. Ben, if you don't know Elise Randolph.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do know him. I actually need to answer him back concerning like something that he wrote to me yesterday, but it was not a good time for me to answer it. It's actually concerning the Anger Games, because might have an interest of doing like the Insta French translation as we did for the Fan Fest, but this time for the Anger Games. So that's something.
That would be really good.
Yeah, so that's something that we got like in back of our mind right now, and yeah, that could be actually quite interesting, I think.
Well, you have a slight issue there because getting into Anger Games here, we will not be having one stream. We will be having 2 streams at the same time.
I'll pick the best one.
I'm gonna pick the one with no commentary, so therefore no translation.
Well, both have commentary.
Oh yeah, you're right. So kind of high level. So Anger Games coming out. There's over 100 matches in the Anger Games, which means they're gonna have 2 streams going. The way they presented it was one stream will have the commentary, the desk, all this and that, and then the second stream was just gonna have the matches, kind of like just to make sure they're broadcast and maybe have some commentary. But I think the way it's evolved is the second stream is the chill stream. Everybody just goes there and hangs out. And the first stream's a serious stream where everybody puts on their game face. And they're like, oh, this has to look real professional and production value. And so, yeah, Ben's gonna have the dilemma.
You say that, you're not wrong about that, right? Like, we had this thing where we wanted to... For those people who don't know how tournaments have worked in the past, historically, there has been just the tournament. And you either bought in or you played in. But generally, it was just that you either bought in or you played in, and you were done. And then, in 2019 or so, CCP introduced the idea of feed around, which would be basically a playoff for teams to kind of fight their way through, rather than just buying in and being done with it. And that playoff idea, even through the hiatus, it kind of carried on. And we did feed arounds for Anger Games 5. and we weren't necessarily happy with the fact that people were kind of fighting for their life every single time. So
And it's
what
also it's also a bit unfair, right? You're making the people who are not fast enough to sign up or who didn't pay enough put in extra time, show more comms, give the other teams more intel on how they play, right? Just because they were just a bit slower.
Yeah, and when we say just a bit slower, we're talking about minutes. When we announced Angry Games 5 signups, we were full of the teams that could automatically get in because they signed up fastest. We were full within like 20 minutes of announcing the sign up. A lot of people are very interested in tournaments, and we kind of looked at that and we went, no, we want to make something a little bit fairer. So this year, what we've done is we've gone group stages for everybody for the first part of it, and that guarantees that everybody will get 3 matches, which is more than you would normally get in a standard double elimination. And also, like, it's that bit of, yeah, okay, you sign up, but you get to fight your way through on an even kind of ground, rather than having to think, alright, I signed up, and as Soth was saying, I might end up in a weird situation where, because I signed up later, I have to fight more matches, I have to give more intel out. That's not what's going on here. And so we also have the 2 streams. So every single match will be streamed. We have 2 arenas running simultaneously, with an offset. So the main stream on the CCP stream is going to have the desk commentary. It's going to have a really great level of production, hopefully. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. But the other stream is kind of going to be a bit more chill casting couch. And as you said, Rain, this is kind of evolved, right? Because originally we didn't intend for the second stream, for the second arena, to have any sort of commentary at all.
Well, I think you should take it kind of as a compliment, though, right? Like, you have all these players who want to actually fly in a tournament, but 2, you have all these people who also want to help run a tournament. Like everybody loves casting, right? Like, they want that, but it's also a lot of pressure. But also having the option to just sit and chill and kind of shoot the crap with your homies, watching a game is also really, really fun. I think you call it like armchair quarterbacking, where they're like, well, I would have done this. Your commentary doesn't have to be up to snuff. It can just kind of be kind of off the hook, banter wise. And I think that's good. I think it shows that people want this. They want to participate in any way that they can. And I think it's really good. And I think we'll see that also reflected in the viewership. So you mentioned the CCP channel, and I also referee for the Anger Games, so I kind of have all this quote unquote inside knowledge. But so the CCP stream will have, what was it? Points and rewards, whereas this second stream is going to have drops. So it really encourages that viewership. One, not just watching one, but watching both. And that way people, there's always complaints, oh, the time between is too long. I'm so bored. When's the next match? Blah, blah, blah. Well, now they can actually watch both. Like, you can go back and forth with a couple minutes in between. And I think viewers will really, really enjoy that.
I mean, we also want to try out the co-streaming feature once the group stages are done. I'm not sure yet if we can actually pull that off. The idea behind it is so everyone's always divided on how the camera should work, right? Some people want to see the action up close, they want to see explosions, and then there's other people who would rather have like the wide angle to see what is happening exactly, what the play is that's happening. So what we want to do is just have them both, right? Use the co-streaming feature so that you can have both cameras up on each stream, and people have the same commentary on both of them.
I really like that idea. I think that'll be really strong. Oh shoot! Go on.
This is the thing. We're really we always look to push the boundary, right? Like, Angry Games is the thing that pushes CCP to do new things, fun things, is how we kind of approach Angry Games. But at the same time, the last Angry Games 5, we introduced the overhead camera that kind of gave you an idea of always where ships were. And it works, but it's not fantastic. It could be improved. But it's still pretty good, and it's something that CCP haven't quite adopted yet. But in the meantime, we can also go with, you know, when we're talking about 51 teams this year, it's with the biggest tournament since 18, I think, 17, something like that.
Already 17, yeah.
Like, at this point, we're trying to make sure that we push the boundary once again, and it's a ton of fun. trying to, as much as it's a lot of stress, it's a ton of fun trying to make it all work in the same way.
Yeah. And I will say, I was gonna ask. So you mentioned, like, you know, you've invented some of these ideas and CCP's adopted them. What other support has CCP shared with you? Are they like full on board with all these crazy wacky ideas you guys want to try?
Well, so the process is usually that we gather a bunch of ideas we have, and then we give CCP that list. And they come back to us and tell us, yeah, this is easily done. This will take some dev time. This is impossible, right? And then from the list we get back, we pick a few easy ones and we pick one or two hard ones that will take some actual dev time. So we do get some time with an actual engineer at CCP allocated just for the tournament. That's probably the biggest support we get from them. As you mentioned, we also get access to the CCP channel. It helps a lot with boosting viewer numbers. We get drops on our second channel. We get news articles written by CCP that also get put on the launcher, which gets more eyes on the tournament. And on
of
top
course,
of that,
there's always the interaction with CCP dev, right? Like,
yeah.
CCP Swift, CCP Zealous, CCP Overload, CCP not Aurora, Arcade, CCP Arcade. Like, all of the CCPers are really engaged with us and willing to work on what we're doing. So even if it's not, like, obvious, we get a huge amount of engagement from CCP and a lot of help from them.
No, that's really good to hear, though, that, like, you know, because it used to be, I remember in the past when people would try to do these events, whether it was a tournament or otherwise, and it was very difficult to get CCP support. So the fact that not only is CCP, you know, not, you know, writing, you know, I could say, oh, they're writing an article or letting you use their stream, which seems a little bit low effort, but the fact that they're giving you engineer time / dev time, and, you know, using Thunderdome, which again is, you know, a CCP asset, like, that's all really, really good to hear and to see. And I'm really glad you guys are able to get that support. I'm hoping they're able to do it in the future too.
We should talk a little bit about Thunderdome as well, because Thunderdome is its own server, kind of like Singularity, but not in the sense that it's technically a dev server, but it's one of those things where, since we've seen CCP Zealous run tournament stuff at CCP, he's been pushing for more and more self-service players. So, for example, on Thunderdome previously, before CCP Zealous, before about 2 years ago, you would have to get a new account for Thunderdome for every tournament. In the last year or so, you get one account, you apply for the account, get it, CCP Security does their thing, and then you use that account for all tournaments forever. that's a huge quality of life change that CCP are willing to do, primarily because CCP Zealous is willing to go the distance and talk to people internally, right? So we get so much more support nowadays than we used to. It's been a big shift.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, I will say it's not just CCP stepping up too, but I think it's the players, right? So both Dirk and Soth yourselves, as well as just everyone in general, you know, kind of being given these assets, given these tools, and not completely breaking something, right? Like I remember, was it CCP Aurora who kept like scolding players like, please log in the right way to Thunderdome, or I get spammed with emails. And it's like players took a lot of care to make sure that not only were they logging in appropriately, but that their team members were logging in appropriately. Just
As
to
it turns out, Zealous still gets spammed with emails.
No,
but you know, it's the effort, right? It's the fact that they try.
It got fixed recently, but we were talking about this yesterday at the Leeds. There was a point where Zealous got 47,000 emails in a single year because people were logging into Thunderdome wrong.
Yeah.
I think at one point they kind of made it a challenge, right? Let's see how far up we can push the numbers.
That's so funny. But you know, I just remember like the commentary around all that, right? Like all the players trying to make sure, you know, it was something so minor, but they're like, no guys, we've been given this privilege, we have to take good care of it, right? And it's the players being good stewards of the resources, right? And like helping each other and supporting each other. And I mean, we even see it here with Anger Games, right? Like with the casting couch idea with the second stream, where you have all these, you know, all these folks who don't have to do the effort, but they step up and do it anyway. And I see a lot of names in your guys' staff channels, and that's really, really good in my mind because people want to be involved.
For sure. Yeah. Like people try. They reach out and they try and they like go, hey, I want to be involved. And like you say, with our kind of casting couch, yeah, when it comes to our staff channel for the Anger Game, the number of, as you say, names that have been around, right? Mark Resurrectus, who is now CCP Jotun, fair, but also Ithaca Hawk is there. CCP Zealous, who is General Stargazer, is there. But also, you then have, like, other huge names. And I'm actually looking at our server right now, and I'm realizing that we got so large that we can't see the offline people anymore. I was here gonna call out a bunch of names, and I can't, because I can't see the offline people easily anymore.
Oh gosh. And then kind of along with that, like you have a huge roster. What if people, you know, are kind of new to the scene and they want to get involved? Is there still a chance to get involved with Anger Games 6?
Sadly not. Unless you already have an account for Thunderdome. Since CCP Zealous is on vacation right now, he can't process new applications for Thunderdome. So unless you already have an account, there's no way to get one in time. Unless you want to go for a casting spot. If you want to help with our production, if you want to try out being on the stream and like commentating on the actual matches, then you can get in touch with either Dirk or me, and we will see if we can get you an account in time.
Yeah, I mean, there's room for staff account, for sure. But like, as an everyday player, if you're on a team and you don't have an account already, sorry, you're out of luck. Is kind of the space we're in, because the process for getting people through and getting them an account on Thunderdome not only requires like submitting your details to CCP Zealous, but it also requires CCP security going through, making sure that you're okay, you haven't had anything crazy in your past, that kind of thing. So, yeah, unfortunately, we do have that cutoff currently, But otherwise, yeah, come talk to us and we'll have a conversation if you're interested.
And I mean, the next AT has already been announced to be later this year, so it's not like the next tournament is far away.
Yeah, we're significantly hoping that it's October, November time rather than like August. But CCP Zealous wouldn't tell me anything about that yesterday, so yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if they're still trying to figure out, right? 'Cause CCP has to dedicate a lot of time too for an alliance tournament, so maybe they're trying to figure out their resources. These
Oh,
the
yeah.
brackets.
Yeah.
I mean, these events are these events are very significant in terms of the man hours that get involved. Soth, how much time have we put into Anger Game 6? Just Anger Game 6.
Yes.
There's a lot of effort, right? Like not even just
And
actively doing
it's-
things, but thinking about it.
Like it gets really complicated really fast. Like we're showing the brackets right now. That is the second stage. So in the first stage we have 13 groups of 4 teams each.
One is 3 teams.
And one is 3 teams, yes. I did mention it gets complicated. And then all the second places in each group go into a so-called redemption arc, where 3 of them at the end also make it into the second stage. And then the second stage, as you can see, is going to be 16 teams in double elimination. That means if you lose a match, you drop down into the losers bracket, and if you lose again, you are out of the tournament. So ultimately, if you make it to the second stage, you will have at least 5 matches that you've played.
Okay. So there's a section before what we're seeing here, right?
Yes, there's
Yeah,
the
that's
group
the group
stage.
stage.
Okay. So we also got this here. Those are like the details of each group, right?
Oh, okay. We're talking about shows, Tonylytics, situation. Yeah, so Show Now is a pretty prolific tournament persona, right? Like we've all been around the block. Show has also been around the block.
Okay, so that
This
is not
year-
from your organization. That's someone else that made that.
This
Yes.
is somebody completely separate to us.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But Show has been in tournaments for years, and he decided that he was going to do an evaluation of teams and the group, and kind of give people an idea of what the hell is going on.
Okay. But that's not
definitely-
official.
It's not official, but I would say it's a good overview for people who are kind of new to tournaments, who want to find out
Yeah.
a bit more about each of the teams. Because he also goes into the history of each of the teams and what their likelihood of actually winning the tournament is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's worth a read for
Okay.
sure. I also want to note that there's somebody in Twitch chat who has wondered about the definition of crazy. And I would just like to note that Soth is insane, and he keeps dragging me along with him.
Guilty as charged.
That is the thing. We're talking about the biggest EVE tournament since 18, 88, 19, 17, 2019. Years and instances of tournaments are different. I need to remember that. But 51 teams is bigger than most tournaments have been for years. And we're talking about doing Saturday, Sunday, for 3 weekends.
Yeah,
And each day is going to be 6-7 hours worth of like live streaming and matches.
Yes.
It is a bigly tournament. So yeah, he's dragging me along for the ride, and we're dragging Rain and other people along for the ride. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I
But also,
volunteered for this, so it's all good.
it is mental. Hey, technically, I volunteered as well. I will still complain about Soft being completely insane.
Yeah. And I think what you guys are able to do, especially with the players, is a lot different than what CCP can do, right? Because when CCP does these, I think the old Alliance tournament used to be 4 weekends, and 2 of those weekends were not on site. It was all just done remote. And then the last 2 weekends were done, with everybody on site. And then they expanded it with like feeder rounds, which were, at a different phase. So it was like 2 weekends plus the other 4 weekends or something along those lines. And now we're like kind of at the point, right? If you're 51 teams, like if we bump that up to the normal 64 tournament, like it used to be in the ye olden times, like that's a lot of weekends and a lot of effort from everybody involved.
Well, we were open to up to 64 teams without feeders. That was half of what our format was designed to do. Was do the old thing without having to add so many weekends on. We're trying to like capitalize on the timeline a little bit, right? So
Yeah. And it's also the key thing we always need to remind ourselves is that Anger Games was meant to be a starting point for new teams to get into the AT, right? It wasn't meant to do anything better. It was just that, a starting point. But over the years, we have started to experiment a bit to see what can be done different in an EVE tournament. And actually, a lot of the things we have experimented with, CCP have then used in the AT. So, for example, last year we had the duplication rule. Sorry, 2 years ago we had the duplication rule, which meant that any duplicate ship costs 1 point more for each duplicate. And CCP actually applied that to the AT as well, just because it's a rule that makes a lot of sense, that works out well. And our format it's a bit more open, right? You can experiment, and sometimes it doesn't work out, right? But even then, there's not as much on the line in Anger Games as there is for the AT. We don't have 150 billion ISK ships that we hand out as prizes.
we can absolutely like kind of live as a testing ground.
Well, to kind of segue that too, what do you have as prizes, and what do players have to invest in order to participate? Is there like a Plex buy-in, and then does that go to the prizes?
Yeah, so each team has to give us 2,500 Plex to sign up. If you drop out of the tournament on up to a certain date, which is in the past already, then you get your Plex back. Basically, before we finalize the ROS, the brackets, you get your Plex back. That is simply to incentivize teams to tell us before the brackets that they can't find enough people. It happens every year. I think we had around 62 teams sign up.
Something like that, yeah.
I could actually
maybe a little bit less.
60.
59,
We had 60.
60? Yeah.
60, yes. We had 60 actually sign up, and 9 of them dropped out. And they all got their Plex back.
This happens every year, right? Like you run a tournament and you expect that some teams will drop out. So it's not a huge deal. It's just trying to anticipate that. that we try and make sure that we accommodate for that.
So those plex get put in a pool, and we actually hand those out as prizes from our side. So if I look on the sheet right now,
127,500 plex.
Yes.
Dang.
Yeah. This is the sort of like numbers we're talking about. 127,500 plex for the prize pool. We're still arguing about whether or not it's going to be top 8 or top 12.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Was like, because I'm assuming it's a cascading, not just winner take all. But yeah, if it's top 8 versus top 12.
Actually,
we have...
for the CCP part of the prizes, which are Modus
We know
Legion,
exactly, yeah.
they're called Modus Legion Triumphant skins, which are the like white silvery skins.
Anyway, are these your tournament exclusive, or have these been introduced before?
They were an event prize skin a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And
but
CCP have basically said, hey, we can reintroduce them for you. And so we're getting a bunch of these skins, and we get to give them out as prizes.
Yeah, but I think Anger Games has been pretty much the only tournament they have been handed out in.
There was
the Alliance Open,
AT.
I think.
Yeah, the Alliance Open, Anger Games Rebirth, and then this Anger Games 6. So they're still fairly exclusive. That they're not like just for this Anger Games, but they're also fairly exclusive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We hand those out per win. So
yes. So even if you don't make it all the way, you still can win something.
Yeah. And that was one of the big driving factors of us going for group stages. First of all, it means teams get one more match before they are eliminated compared to double elimination. And on the other hand, it also means we can try to make the groups in a way that there's always an equal team you can play against, right? It's not just, hey, I'm facing two absolute top teams right after one another and I'm out of the tournament and I have no chance of winning anything. Instead, we used a bit of math and tried to put teams into groups so that they are as fair as possible.
We used more than a bit of math.
Is that your own MMR setup you guys have done in prior years?
Yes.
Nice, I like it.
So in AG5 we did an ELO rating based on the team captain. And that was like, it was a good kind of setup, but it wasn't great in terms of the implementation, because obviously if you're judging things just on one player out of a team of 7 or a team of 10, that's just one person. So this year we've done the MMR thing, and what we've done with MMR is given everybody a ranking and then averaged out the best players in your team roster. And that gives you your rating for the seed. It doesn't do anything beyond the seed and where you end up playing by and large. So, like, Goons are seeded 15 because their MMR is 2,500 something. But we also cascaded the seed such that the groups were 25, 26, 64 was the intention, and then we didn't have as many teams as we had slots for. But
yeah, they snake through, right? You start with 1, you go down, and then you turn around, you go up, and then you turn around again and again. and then you
Yeah.
have 4 teams per group.
Okay.
So
I feel like
gets
we need
all-
like a whiteboard or something, but I
Yeah.
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Tried to make it fair based on numbers and
For visual
Well-
peoples, it doesn't help much.
that is the thing, though, right? Like we're trying to make sure that everybody gets a fair shot. You might not be likely to win, but if you get an upset and you win, then actually you could be going a long way.
And
Whereas-
even if you don't get first, or even if you don't get second in your group, and you are out of the tournament, you can still win one match and win skins, right?
Yeah.
So theoretically, there's a chance that every team wins something. It's probably not going to happen, like especially for the like top 5, top 6 teams. It's very unlikely that the new teams will win against those, but it's still theoretically possible.
do you I was thinking about this, but do you have like a no collusion rule? So like teams can't be like, "Hey man, I lost all these other ones, and if we beat you, it's not that big of a deal." Do you mind throwing so we can win some skins? Or do you
If
just
we can prove that's not okay.
Okay.
That's really the thing. Is that like the collusion rules? They're a huge topic of conversation because they're very, very subject to interpretation.
Yeah. And
But if we can prove any collusion, that's not okay, and you will get a hammer dropped on you.
yeah, I get what you're saying. And I like those rules. I think it's annoying to have set or fixed matches or people not actually trying when they should.
I mean, this is what we try and do. Is we try and make sure that we're not horrendously restrictive, but also we make sure that there's some sort of fair playing field, right? Like everybody wants there to be a fair playing field when it comes to tournaments and competitive situations. So that's what we try and do. We don't want to restrict people too much, but we also don't want people being able to do anything and everything and breaking the whole thing.
And that's kind of also the intention behind the MMR system, right?
Yeah.
We're not trying to rate teams. We're not trying to put an exact number on how good someone is. We're just trying to get them in roughly the right area of skill.
Yeah. We want to make sure that like the really good team aren't playing each other really quickly, but also we don't want to make sure that they're never seeing each other. So we've got the group stages, which are seeded by MMR, and then this feeds into the double elimination, which is really going to put people to the test.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. We are coming up at the top of the hour. Do you guys want to share when and where folks can tune in at? I know you said the CCP channels. We'll do that. Give them a shout out. And then I think Soth, you gave me another channel.
I gave you the other channel, yes. We're gonna go live on April 13th, and then we are on for 3 consecutive weekends. We're starting around
1700 Eve.
1700 Eve, yeah. And as you said, we're going to be on the CCP Twitch channel, and we are going to be on the Twitch channel twitch.tv/Eve Tournaments.
So
At
for
the
those
same time.
Yeah, so for those in chat, I've linked both of those, and then I also give a shout out so you can just click the heart if you follow. I'm assuming everybody here already follows CCP. If you're on the YouTube, hopefully Ben can link this to you in the YouTube. But yeah, that's where you guys can tune in. 1700. You guys mentioned April 13th, so it'd be the weekend of April 13 and 14, April 20, 21, and then April 27 and 28.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's a lot of weekends, and we're going to be there for probably 6 hours a day, maybe 7 hours a day, depending upon how things work. But it's going to be a ton of fun, and we would love to see everybody join us over there and just kind of engage with tournaments. Really, like it's one of those things where CCP management, specifically CCP management, aren't massively engaged with tournament stuff. They don't see the value add. But when you take a look at it and you go 51 teams with like 10 to 15 players each, and it becomes, 1,500 players very quickly. It's absolutely wonderful to see individuals just watch and engage with it. We love putting this on. We love the fact that people like it. And so, yeah, if you can spend some time just to watch, please do.
You get Twitch points and you get drops, and I believe CCP is going to do Galnet. I'm assuming they're going to do Galnet skin giveaways or some sort of giveaway during the tournament. But yeah, definitely, folks can engage. If you want to actually help in a staff role, reach out to Dirk and Soph. And then I'm going to give you guys a moment for shoutouts. I know you guys had mentioned at the beginning of the show you're used to 2 hours of talking. We usually aim for 1. And I feel like we could go for a whole another hour and discuss so much more. But do you have anything else you wanted to share?
I'm good. Like on Push to Talk, normally we do 2 hours, but one is just fine. Soth, have you got anything going?
Well, I definitely want to shout out CCP Zealous. As I've said, I've been organizing Anger Games since the beginning. Well, since it was kind of my idea. So I know how organizing tournaments has been over the years, right? Under CCP Logibro, then CCP Aurora, and now finally CCP Zealous. And all of them were lovely, all of them were supportive, but I gotta say, CCP Zealous really gives you the feeling that he's there for you, right? He's always responsive. He comes back to you even at late hours in the day. And he really gives you the feeling that he's trying to help you make the best tournament you can. And so yeah, I just want to give a huge shout out to CCP Zealous, because I feel he's the best person we had in that job, period.
So no shoutouts from you, Dirk?
I mean, shoutouts would just be to everybody who helps us make this work, right? Like, I run the stream for the Anger Games. I wouldn't have run the stream if we didn't have an issue, and then Bay RJ helped me out and kind of gave me a crash course in that sense. We have CCP Overload, Ithaca Hawk doing a ton of work. We have Urain. We have so many people. Like, if I were to go on a shout out for every single person for the Yankee Games, it would be like five fucking minutes long. So like, I don't necessarily have a specific shout out, but everybody that has ever been involved and ever contributed, we do love you. I mean, this year we're going crazier than ever. We've got 2 simultaneous live streams. We've got Brett Thomas running the second one. I'm running the first one. We're gonna have commentary on both because our staff are insane and want to comment just everywhere. Like, I couldn't stop. If I started giving certain people shoutouts, I couldn't stop. So I can't give too many shoutouts, but I will say, massive shout out to Bayart J for getting me going with this and helping us out proactively wherever he can. Bay is a dear, and he does the main AT stuff as well, right? He streams the main AT stuff, so he's just such an awesome gun.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Ben, I'll pass it to you. Do you have any shout-outs?
Actually, I do. I'll start with my CCP shoutout. So, CCP Arcade and CCP Convict, big shout out to you both to all the help that you've provided for EVE Montreal this year. Everything that you sent our way, thank you a lot. Also, a big shout out to everyone that participate to the EVE Montreal this year. Those that send us stuff that we put into the bags, people that went there, people that help us, like the venue itself, the kids that we laser tagged. And yeah, so yeah, basically everything that has to do with EVE Montreal, like, it's been like a really big success this year. Well, every year is a success, but this year, we've been above and beyond, and yeah, we know what we were aiming for next year.
That's awesome.
We should also throw a shout out to CCP Bathrobe.
Yeah.
Shout out and congratulations to
Yeah,
CCP.
congrats.
in
Now
Gildan.
we need we need like a new wormhole representative. So yeah, we need someone that can do the job.
Isn't it a little
Sorry,
late?
Brisk, you're coming back to the CSM because the wormholers need a representative.
Yeah, well, Brisk
we'll
is
have to
not
see.
more is not in in wormhole that much.
Yeah, we'll have to see what
Yeah.
CCP does with the CSM. I thought it might have been too late to fill Mark's empty position, but we'll see.
See, CCP Swift has already posted today saying that they will not be changing or adding. They're gonna live with the 11 people they already have. I mean, 11 is big enough, right?
True.
But
True.
But yeah, apparently, like, everything for the major expansion coming up is done, and therefore they don't feel a need to add a new CSM, even though CCP Bathrobe has decided to ditch the CSM.
Completely valid. And so with that, I will do the final shout out. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Hateless Gaming. It's been about a year since his death. Eve has been less without him. I believe the world has been less without him, and we all miss him dearly. He was a huge part of Talking in Stations, so I want to give him a shout out, especially his family and community who have continued to be involved in Eve and with all of us. And on that sort of somber ending note, I'm smiling because I don't want to cry, but I'm gonna pass off the stream.
We all do miss him.
We
So,
do miss
you
him.
know.
We do. He. It's very sad for all of us. It still feels like it happened yesterday, sort of thing. We will raid. So Ben's gonna roll the credits, and then we will raid. So please stick around. I found they said back to Eve after 10 years. So we're gonna go raid a quote unquote reborn newbie and see what he is up to. So thank you everybody for hanging out, and thank you South and Dirk for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anytime.
wow.
All right. Take care.
For 3 long years they fought online side by side, comrades in arms, but at a recent player gathering, little did he suspect the innermost surprise awaiting for him. As part of a clever prank, the organizers snapped a selfie with him and his friend in the background. It wasn't until he glanced at the photo that he realized that his closest gaming companion has driven over 10 hours just to reunite with him.
We are wanderers, neutral and in service to all of New Eden. We rescue the lost and light the way through Thera. We sail forbidden seas. Come explore with us. Signal Cartel. Can't stop the signal.